Okay, hello everyone. This is Sharonda, and this is my podcast as well as my YouTube and Facebook. I will be uploading this at the closing of this podcast episode. I'm not doing this live. So for the topic for today, I decided to update on my soul astral projection. So many of us may have heard of these terms, but we really haven't gain much emphasis or thought to it. So I decided to let me speak on these, and I'll try to give some more explanation as to what I feel that is. So, as I begin to do my platform for spiritual sense, I noticed that many of these terms are under the umbrella of, let's see, spiritual awareness and awakening, but there is some variances or differences in the actual thing, but essentially it's spiritual awakening and awareness. So astral projection, as defined, is a term used to esotericism to describe an intentional out-of-body experience that assumes the existence of a subtle body known as the astral body or body of light through which consciousness can function separately from the physical body and throughout the astral plane. So do you believe that there's a such thing as uh, your spirit essentially leaving your body and you're able to manifest into the physical world, this other astral plane or this quantum plane? Do you believe that we have, as individuals, have that capability of doing that? So it mentions that the idea of astral travel is ancient and occurs in multiple cultures. The term astral projection was coined and promoted by 19th century theosophists. It is sometimes associated with dreams and forms of meditation. Some individuals have reported perceptions similar to descriptions of astral projection that were induced through various hallucinogenic and hypnotic means. Also, by way of self hypnosis. There is no scientific evidence that there is a consciousness whose embodied functions are separate from the normal neural activity, or that one can consciously leave the body and make observations of the physical universe. And astral projection has been characterized as a pseudoscience. So, do you believe that astral projection is a pseudoscience? Do you believe that? We'll put it this way. I do believe that astral projection is real. I think it is a battle of the mind to get you to believe something that may not be so. I think is God's way of conveying how a person thinks and awareness and things that he has bestowed upon this individual. As I mentioned before, we use terms such as mystical, fictional, mythology, um, pseudo, to pretty much minimize that capability because you can get way out there in terms of dealing with the spiritual realm where you can invite demons, demonic presences, and then you can open up yourself to a whole genre of existence apart from this one. Okay, so we want to minimize that, and they do this by associating this type of behavior as being abnormal, paranormal, or even mentally challenged or illness. Okay, it is real, by the way, it is real. Um, do I believe that you nearly have to believe in it for it to present itself into your space? I do not. I do think it's more mind over magic, meaning if you give power to it, then it will continue to circumvent itself in your space. But there's times where you don't necessarily have to believe in it for it to intercede, but you choose not to give it power. So by way of the power of the tongue, where you can speak life and death out of the power of the tongue, you can minimize these capabilities and these energies, but they do exist. Okay, they do exist. So it says ancient Egyptian. It mentions similar concepts of soul travel appear in various other religious traditions. For example, ancient Egyptian teachers present the soul Ba as having the ability to hover outside the physical body via the ka or subtle body. So there have been accounts of people who have had some type of surgery or some type of illness or whatever the case may be, an accident to where they was able to see outside of themselves. So do you believe stories such as that? Do you believe that a person can, because I've had this instance to happen to me a couple of times myself. Do you believe that a person is able to do that? I'm going to explain something to you. Yes, you can. And this is God's way of providing you insight through the eyes of someone else. Now, we all have the ability to have common sense, common knowledge where we're able to empathize or even sympathize with the next individual. But this here is God's way of allowing you to see things through the eyes of someone else. We do have that capability. So essentially, you will begin to see things in a different perspective. I have had this to happen to me several times where there's a flashback and it's like I am the doctor out of the group, or I am the this out of the group, or the that out of the group, and I'm able to empathize and even pick up on the emotions and feelings of others apart from my own. I think this is pretty much what astral projection is. You're viewing through the eyes of someone else. Okay. As I mentioned before, when I did my podcast about residual generational energy of judgment, this is the same synopsis in terms of the reenactment of events that have transpired in history. And you'll begin to see it on the spiritual sense of it all, and God will give you that enlightenment as such. So it goes on to mention about the Amerindian traditions, Amazon, where the Yash Cosmo of the Wawa is believed to have the ability to perform a soul flight that can serve several functions such as healing, flying to the sky to consult cosmological beings, the moon or the brother of the moon, to attain a name for a newborn baby, flying to the cave of Peccaries Mountains to ask the father of the Peccaries for abundance of game, or flying deep down in a river to seek the aid of other beings. So we do have that ability to tap into empathy, standing, things of that sort. So I'm not going to read a lot of these. I will go into the Japanese mythology as Ikiryo, also read as Shar or Sharyo, is a manifestation of the soul of a living person separately from their body. Traditionally, if someone holds a sufficient grudge against another person, it is believed that a part of or the whole of their soul can temporarily leave their body and appear before target of their hate in order to curse or otherwise harm them, similar to an evil eye. See, I got an inclination about evil on last night when I was asleep, and I go through my periods of wakefulness and things of that sort. Because I had the evil eye to appear to me as a kid. I was about 4, maybe 5 years old, and I was able to view the evil eye, and that's how God was able to give me inclination about if someone is looking over, looking for money. That's essentially what it is. Evil eye is the ability to see who is looking and targeting, like somebody that is looking for something of financial gain and things of that sort. Souls are also believed to leave a living body when the body is extremely sick or comatose, such as Ariel are not malevolent. So we're going to go down here to Judaism, and we're going to um, end on this note. So it says Carrington, Mondoon, Peterson, and Williams say that the subtle body is attached to the physical body by means of a psychic silver cord. The final chapter of the book of Ecclesiastes is often cited in this respect before the silver cord be loosed, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be shattered at the fountain, or the wheel be broken at the eastern Sherman, however, contends that the context points to this being merely a metaphor, comparing the body to a machine, with the silver cord referring to the spine. Paul's second epistle to the Corinthians is more generally agreed to refer to the astral planes. It quotes, I know a man in Christ who, 4 years ago, was caught up to the third heaven. Whether it was in the body or out of the body, I do not know. God knows. So, um, I honestly feel as though there is some explanation of what is being conveyed in terms of soul travel or even out of body experiences. I honestly feel as though, in a case such as self, because I have had, say, maybe 5 of these experiences where I was able to view things through the perspective of others, through the eyes of others. So I'm on this website and it gives a quoted from a scholar here, Schwer Arnold Klink. It says soul travel transcends astral or mind travel and rote prayer, elevating one into profound spiritual areas. Whenever soul reaches the far orbits of the inner planes through soul travel, the human heart opens to God's all-consuming love. So, do you believe that? Do you believe that this is way of the way that God can expand your consciousness and awareness through a divine intelligence to give you knowledge that you can't really read in a textbook, or you just have to go through it through on your own. So it says soul travel makes it possible to achieve God realization in this lifetime. The first step is self realization, to discover who you are and your mission in this life. Upon reaching this state, you can then move into a higher realm of divine service through God's realization, the fulfillment of soul's sacred quest. So I do believe that it's a way of God reaching you and getting you on your better path to your better self. And once you have received that higher sensibility, you will begin to see that everything is God. God is everything, whether it be of a favorable or even an unfavorable sense of the all. I honestly feel as though God is a comforter. He's a soother. He's a protector. But as we know, we have to be realistic. We have to be realistic. We focus on the positive. We are aware of the negative. We have to be realistic. Some things in this life experience is not going to be favorable. And that's just the bottom line of it. Um, so that being said, soul travel, I think, is God's way of providing you again illumination, awareness, apart from your own understanding and awareness. You'll know spirit. You'll begin to detect uh, manipulative, deceptive, lying spirits. You will begin to do so. Um, so with that being said, I'm not going to be on here too much long in terms of speaking on this topic, but I did feel the need to speak on this topic. Um, so getting back to my point, I'm just going to give you two experiences that I experienced in terms of uh, out of body experience. It was an instance that I went through one of my ups and downs where I think by way of confusion, oftentimes you'll have people to confuse you just to turn around to make a point. And I think that was a situation that occurred with me on a couple of instances that happened. So I was able to view myself through the eyes of a medical professional from that person's perspective. It was another incident that I was in where I was able to, my spirit look down at myself. And I think this is God's way of providing you with, okay, you need to think a little bit more what you're doing. How would this appear to the next individual? Because oftentimes when we're unadulterated in our thoughts and our desires, that does not mean that others share that same similarity or commonality as you do. So oftentimes God will allow these things to happen to us so we're able to see it from a different perspective. That may not have been your intentions or what have you, but it was someone's intentions. Okay, so look at it in that aspect of the situation because I'm going to tell you that many people will make you feel as though you don't know what you're talking about and that you are something is wrong with you. No, nothing is wrong with you at all. This is the God within you bringing awareness to you as such. Okay, so I am going to conclude this episode of Spiritual Sense, speaking about astral projection and soul travel. Do you believe in astral projection? Do you believe that we have the capability of projecting our spirit to somewhere else, particularly if there may be some type of danger or if we at the brinks of making a spiritual transition? Do you believe that God allows us to do that? I do believe that. I do believe that God does give us the capability if something just ain't right, like you tapping into your intuition about your child who may be out and about, and God forbid something is about to occur that is unfavorable, and all of a sudden you begin to get sick, and you may see an image of them, and you will instantaneously know that danger is imminent. God does have a way of doing that. He does have a way of alerting us as such. Okay. So I am going to conclude this episode of Spiritual Sense. Again, speaking on astral projection and soul travel. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you're more than welcome to comment below. Until then, have a safe and wonderful day. Good day.